Hi guys, Jordan from P&P Campers. I'm just going to do your handover video on your Auto Trail Pawnee. So we've got your engine battery down here under the bonnet, over here on the left hand side. Brake fluid attached to the servo just down the back there at the top. Power steering fluid is this reservoir just here at the front. Engine oil goes in through this cap just here, so you literally take this entire thing out, and then your dipstick is just there on the top. Your engine's coolant is this one just up here at the top of the engine. Air filter sits inside here, and your washer fluid sits in this reservoir over here on the right hand side. Diesel filling cap is this one just here. You need the ignition key to get into that in order to actually open it up. You've then got your gas locker, which is just here on the near side. You've got space in here for two 13 kilo propane bottles if you wanted to. It's a huge, great big gas locker. Turning the bottle on is anti-clockwise around to the left. Turning it off is clockwise around to the right. And the rest of it in here, I believe it's a new regulator that's being fitted. So you got a long time to sort of have that. I see it's got 0920 on it. So yeah, a long time to do that. Obviously all being pressure tested, so that's all good. No leaks anywhere in the vehicle. And I'll leave that on for a minute just to show you a few bits on gas. We've got your step switch, which is this bit just in here. Obviously the step comes out nicely like that. You've also got your new battery charger down here. Also a new water pump as well. The old one was leaking a little bit, so it's been replaced. Freshwater drain is the one just down there. You can see with the red, the black sort of on and off switch. Freshwater inlet, this one here at the very back of the vehicle. So fresh water goes in through there. Your toilet cassette locker is this one over here on the off side of the vehicle. So you get that out by lifting up on this little tab here and then pulling it out towards you. And then you'll notice that you can bring it all the way out. When you empty these out, you need to hold down the little yellow button at the back. And that'll be good to go to empty it out. Obviously you empty it out from here. I'll just tighten that up. Your hookup point is this one just here, and your boiler vent on the outside is just this one here. So you can see there, when you have the boiler lit up on gas, you'll feel hot air coming out through the underneath of that. If you've got the fridge lit up on gas, like I do at the moment, you can feel some warm air coming out through the top right hand side of this vent here. And otherwise they're just pretty much for easy access to getting in there if anything needs cleaning out or anything like that. It's all pretty simple stuff. Handbrakes on the right hand side here, so careful when you're jumping out of the vehicle. It does hurt if you catch yourself. Lights are this switch just here. Headlight aim is this one just here to the right of that. It's a pretty straightforward cab, but also still, you know, you've got a reversing camera up here, which works really nicely. You've got a 5-speed manual gearbox. Reverse is just down there, bottom right. Hazard warning lights are there in the middle. Singled in Sony head unit just there. And obviously all of your heater controls are all there in the middle. One thing to point out with these cabs is that you've got this one at the back here, which is for your full beam, sort of like high beam lights. And this one just in front of that there is for your indicators. So if you sort of don't try not to get them mixed up, because you don't go, you know, only this one at the front will actually do your indicators. The washers and wipers are on the right hand side. Pull towards you for the washers, and obviously up and down for the wipers. Other than that, it's all pretty straightforward, nice and simple. Your bonnet release is just here underneath the steering wheel. Just in case you couldn't work out where it was, it's just there. But otherwise, it's all stuff in the back end, really. So the control panel itself is all really nice and straightforward. So you've quite literally got a light switch here, pump switch, fan switch. The fan switch is for your extractor, wherever it might be. Up there, look. So that's your extractor. So if you leave that one off for the most part, because obviously, you know, you're not going to want to have the extractor on all the time, and also another light switch. So when you come into the van, ideally you'd have a hookup plugged into it, and then you'd go on for the lights, and that'll give you all the lights inside the van will start working. You then got your pump switch. We also want that to be on because you can then pressurize your boiler and pressurize the van up with water. And then obviously just use your extractor when you want to use it. You've got this little test switch just here, which tells you a couple of things. So you've got your voltages and how much water is in your tank, basically. Obviously the voltage in the battery will be a whole lot better after you've driven it, or if you've had a hookup plugged into it. But you know, unfortunately we've not had a chance to actually leave it hooked up today, so the voltages are a little bit lower than usual. But that's all completely normal. Plug a hookup into it, leave it for a good few hours or so, and your battery will be up to scratch again. All the vans have also got what's called a split relay. So when you start the engine up and start driving the van, obviously your engine battery is being charged up because of the alternator, but you also get a split charge, so you get power drawing from there straight through to your engine battery, your leisure battery, sorry, keeping them both topped up at the same time whilst you drive. So that's just something to point out to you. So if you take it out for a nice long drive, both engine and leisure batteries will both be sort of topped up, if you like. Right, so when you come in and actually use the vehicle, if you want to use your hot water, pump needs to go on, assuming you've got some water in the tank, obviously. And once you've done that, come over to the tap and just basically pull the cold water through to get rid of any air that might be in the system, and then go around to the hot side and make sure that that's all completely sort of pressurized as well. If when you turn over to the hot side, no water comes through the tap, you don't need to worry about it, but you do need to have a little look in this cupboard here and make sure that your little pulley here is all the way up. So this is your automatic dropout valve. So basically, if the temperature gets really, really cold and you're not using the boiler itself, this little prong here will drop down and release all the water from inside of it. If you don't sort of notice it there first, because you can quite easily look in the cupboard and just make sure it's up every now and again, but if you don't notice that, it's really important to go to the tap and make sure that you've got plenty of hot water coming through. If the hot water doesn't come through at all, like I said, it means that boiler isn't full of water. Before you start using the boiler, which I'll show you how to do in a minute, you do need to do that. You need to make sure that that's coming through on the hot side nice and clearly without loads of air and things like that. But once you've done that, pull the water through, make sure it's coming through nice and easily. You can then turn that off and make sure that the pump gets the pressure, and go ahead and start using your boiler. But I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. I'll show you the fridge first. So you've got three ways of using the fridge. You've got gas on the right hand side. You've then got electric hookup, which is the green switch, and 12 volt, which is your red switch. So if you want to light the fridge up on gas, obviously make sure your gas is switched on in the cupboard first. But power switch goes on, and you literally just push in and round to the left. And after a couple of goes, it'll light up, assuming you got your gas on, obviously. I'm not actually sure if the gas is on or not. Maybe it's not. But basically that's how you do it. You put the ignition switch on there and then push in and round to the left with your gas switch. It will light up like it has done there. Ignition switch stops flashing at you and stops igniting. And then you can let go of that. As long as you've let go of this and this isn't flashing anymore, you know it's lit. You can also, not this fridge, you can also go around to the outside of the van and put your hand over that vent on the outside like I showed you, and that'll also tell you if there's hot air coming out through there. That'll also tell you that the fridge is lit up on gas. So you can leave it lit up on gas for as long as you like. The freezer compartment will freeze over a little bit, just so that you know that. You've then also got your hookup way of getting the fridge cold. So if you turn this one on, providing it's on the maximum sign there on the dial, if you turn that one on when the hookup's plugged into it, you'll get a little light shine up inside it. And then basically after a few hours or so, your fridge will be nice and cold inside. The last way of using it, the red switch here, your 12 volt switch, is only for when you're driving or when the engine's running. And the only thing I'll say about this switch is that the 12 volt symbol on any fridge, any motorhome fridge, doesn't get the fridge cold on its own, unless it's a a purely 12-volt switch. You need to get the fridge cold first, either via the gas or the mains, and then switch over to 12-volt when you're ready, for when you're driving. When you have finished driving, you need to turn this one off again and then switch back over to either the gas or the 240-volt, and that way your fridge will actually remain cold. So if I show you, when you finish using the fridge, these two go off, and then turn this one off here. The ignition switch will start flashing at you again, and then switch that off. If you've already gone through and made sure that your boiler is full of water in the way that I showed you at the start, you can either have 40 degrees of hot water where it is now, or push it over to 60 and go for 60 degrees. That's up to you. We'll leave it at 40 for a minute. If you want hot water only, you push down one, and basically the boiler will just light up and give you hot water. Or if you want heating and hot water together at the same time, you go up one, and then you'll start to get hot air pumping around through these vents as well. So either way, you get hot water, but it's just whether or not you want the heating as well, which is obviously up. So to make it easier, the hot water symbol is this little shower symbol here. So either way, if you go up, you get hot water. If you go down, you get hot water. But this little symbol here is your heating symbol. So if you go up, you get hot water and heating. Go down, you get hot water only. This bit here is basically just a thermostat. So if you wanted to put the heating on, you would just turn this around depending on where you want the, you know, how hot you want it inside the vehicle. That's up to you. And obviously switch it off just back here into the middle where it is now. You've got a 4-burner hob up here. There's no ignition on any of these, so you will need a lighter of some description to light all of those up. And you've also got a grill underneath, so that lights up just from here, which you also will need an igniter of some description to get that to go. They're all sort of just go from here, this nice little sort of separate section up the top there. Cupboard down here has got your fuses in it, so if you wanted to double check your fuses, you can do so from there. And your RCD, your trip switch, is just down here as well. So if you plugged a hookup into the vehicle and it tripped, so nothing was working, you want to have a little look in there and make sure that's in the upright position. Obviously let us know if you get any issues with it, but you know, there shouldn't be any problems at all at the moment because we just had the hab check done. Great big bathroom in this one, so you've got the sink just inside here, which obviously has hot and cold as well. The toilet, open the flap up, open that way and close back over. And flushing, it's just literally press that button down there and your flush fluid will pump around the toilet. You need to make sure that you close the flap back over when you finish, because you won't be able to take the cassette out from outside, otherwise it will lock itself in place. I think that's it for the bathroom. What else have we got? Your main skylight up here is one of the styles where you can either just lift it up a little bit on both sides with these handles by squeezing in, or you can pull those back down again and wind the actual skylight open. You need to give it a little bit of a push when you start going on it because of these safety catches, and then just wind it all the way up if you want to. Wind it all the way back down again. The only thing I'll point out with this is when it gets down to the bottom, you need to carry on going until it stops, which is there, and then put your handle up. So when it gets down to the bottom, it's not stopped just yet, and I'll show you why. So that is where it starts to, you know, that's where it starts to lift. But if I show you, I can still move it right up and down. So that's why you need to carry on going a little bit until it actually stops, and that way it's completely stuck down. Right, I've shown you your fridge, I've shown you your boiler settings, I've shown you in the bathroom, and I've shown you these bits up here. Nearly all of the lights around the vehicle have got their own switches on and off. So, you know, you can go around and make it your own, decide which ones you do and you don't want on. The other two skylights in the vehicle have got this style, so you literally just turn this bit like this, and they'll open and close. And that's it, really. If there's anything you think I've missed out or anything you want going over again, you just let us know. But otherwise, we look forward to seeing you soon to collect your van. Thanks very much.